I honestly have no idea why that these questions weren't being asked. Well, yeah, dude, they were being stonewalled every chance they turned around. And also, Trump is forcing people to either actually care about U.S. taxpayer money or just look like the idiots that they are. So, Brian Style from Wisconsin is sitting in a congressional hearing, and you get to hear some questions that he has for somebody at HUD about why there were not appropriate penalties against those that used financial malfeasance to harm U.S. taxpayer dollars. End of story. It's simple questioning. Yes, it's a little political, but for the most part, it's not. For the most part, it's valid questioning that should have been going on for decades. And you get to hear answers, and they're valid answers. This isn't a, hey, we're going to argue with each other. No, this is an actual valid question and answer session. So, first off, I want to thank everybody that stuck with me. I've had some medical issues, I've had some technology issues. Uh, so thank you for sticking around. 350 something people still is a nice number, but like, subscribe, comment. Let's get into this session.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Thank you. Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Style, who is also the chair of the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding today's hearing. Mr. Begg, thanks for being here. I want to talk to you about the waste, fraud, and abuse that's occurring in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. As you may know, $2.8 million in rental assistance funds went to other purposes, went to payroll, to oversight, to administrators, not to helping people in the city of Milwaukee get housing, many of whom are challenged. We face national challenges with housing right now. But I want to talk about what went on. We have a new CFO at the Milwaukee Housing Authority who I know is engaged in this and trying to get this back on track. But what are the consequences for individuals who caused the problem? And what is the consequences across the board at HUD? Are people arrested? Are there charges made? What are the penalties? And how did this occur for years in the city of Milwaukee before this came to light?
Well, thank you for the question. We're acutely aware of the scenario in Milwaukee. It's one we've been tracking, and it's one that we've considered doing our own oversight over. And quite frankly, it's a crowded room there. There are many, many people looking at this issue now based on the status. But in terms of penalties, if employees of a housing authority are found to have misused federal funding, we would investigate those potential crimes and refer them for prosecution. We would work with HUD's Office of General Counsel to seek to debar them from federal programs, and we would seek any other potential administrative penalties for others involved in the actions.
I appreciate you engaging on this and being serious. I think the new administration, the Trump-appointed administration at HUD, we have a big opportunity to get to the bottom of the waste, fraud, and abuse, because what we want to do is actually help people who are challenged and need the assistance. What we don't want to see is it going into programs that it's not designed for. But walk me through how no penalties came to be over the course of 3 years, in particular as it relates to the $2.8 million in misused funds, the Milwaukee Housing Authority.
Well, if you're referring to penalties from HUD, I can't speak to their specific decision-making, but they do have penalties and remedies available to them, which can include limiting and withholding assistance to housing authorities.
And at what point does HUD apply those penalties?
That's a discretionary function for the program offices to decide. It's a policy call for them ultimately. In many instances, they will try to work with housing authorities to get out of troubled or or difficult situations where things aren't going correctly before going to the penalties. Because I mentioned earlier, there aren't a lot of non-federal funds available from housing authorities to pay penalties. So if you withhold new funding from them,
we enter a catch-22 once there's a bad problem, which kind of brings the question of how problems like this stem and grow over a period of years before they're caught. Is there an unwillingness, do you think, in some housing authorities to correct bad behavior?
I wouldn't say that. What I would say is that many housing authorities are facing the same capacity challenges that HUD and its staff are facing. They frequently don't have adequate systems in place. They might not have processes in place necessary to run efficiently and effectively, and they have a large charge, and frequently it's one that's difficult for them to manage. So the problems snowball over time.
But it seems to me, at least, that HUD appears asleep at the wheel while this is ongoing in the city of Milwaukee, that this isn't being covered and held accountable, because you're exactly right. The longer it takes for this to come to light, these penalties are simply pulling money back from a system that doesn't have it because the money was swindled in the first place, which puts us in a catch-22 and shows the need to investigate this and hold people accountable in the first place. Let me go big picture, because I think one of the questions is, are the people who are engaged in this inappropriate behavior nervous of being caught? How often is HUD applying penalties? Is HUD arresting people, making charges across the board to housing authorities across the United States when they see this type of waste, fraud, and abuse?
Well, what I can tell you is our office is responsible for doing the criminal investigations, and almost half of our portfolio is dedicated to public corruption in these programs.
But how often are people actually held accountable?
We could point to investigative case outcomes, prosecutions, sentencing weekly. It happens all the time, and in many ways we're only scratching the tip of the iceberg.
That's my concern, is we're only scratching the tip of the iceberg. Your words. That's my concern, is that we're not taking this seriously enough to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse, because every dollar that is wasted inside HUD is a dollar that's not going to improving the housing or providing access to individuals who do need housing. Appreciate the work you're doing at HUD and others to root out this waste, fraud, and abuse. Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding the hearing. I yield back.
You heard all that. This is your money that is getting wasted. This is your money that is getting wasted. End of story. It ain't nobody else's. It's the American people's money. And ain't nobody getting punished for wasting our money. So it's about time that starts happening. You heard Brian Stout. Now, we need members of the Republican Party to actually do their job. End of story. We need Republicans that are going to do their job, because we've got enough Republicans in both branches to actually make sure something happens. It would be nice if they will do something about this. I don't think they will, because, well, this is an election issue. They can run on this issue. If they solve this issue, they cannot run on this issue. And members of Congress are not running on what they fixed. They're running on what they think that you think that they will fix. End of story. So I'm hoping that Style, I don't know anything about him, I am hoping Style and a few others actually do something. We'll see, but at least you get to hear some honest answers, and getting some questions answered that should have been answered a long time ago is an important thing. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.